Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Blake Damon here with another Sims 4 tutorial. Today I'm going to teach you how to build a tiny home. When it comes to tiny homes, I know it can sometimes feel like you can't fit everything that you need inside your build. But I'm here to show you that it is possible, and I'll show you how I do it and maybe offer you some tips and tricks. Trust me, it's so easy. Let's get started. Let's first build ourselves a tiny home. If you got the tiny living pack, make sure you go to venue info, go to lot info panel, and make sure your lot type is a tiny home residential. Under requirements, we can see here the list of tiers for tiny homes. I'm going to build a micro home just to show you how I managed to fit everything I need inside 32 tiles. You can make any shaped house. As a general rule, I try to make sure that main areas aren't anything smaller than 3x3. I usually do this by building a 3x3 room like this and pressing the copy button and copying this along to make any shape. I'm just gonna build a really easy, simple box with this extra bit at the front to finish up the 32 tile limit. Let's just go with an easy base game window and door set. Just place these windows wherever. I like to have a foundation in most of my builds. I know they're not necessary. I just think it gives it that little bit extra. I'm gonna give it some stairs and maybe a cute little banister. We'll keep it interesting maybe. We'll do 2 different types. Ugh, I hate roofs. But we'll just do an easy, simple roof for this one. We won't labor over it. This isn't a roofing tutorial, thank God. I wouldn't be very good at those. Let's pick a nice foundation. Let's make this roof a little bit taller. I find that if I make the build look taller, it makes the house look less tiny. So this is my house. I feel like putting something on the roof. And that is my 32 tile micro home. Ta-da! That's the easy part though. And now that we've finished our tiny home, it's time to fill it with furniture. The thing that I always try and keep in mind whenever I do a build is that it needs to fulfill my Sims needs. So before we start putting furniture in, we'll go through your Sims needs and we'll figure out what your Sim needs for their needs. That seriously sounds so confusing. So for a bladder, I think it's pretty obvious, but we'll need a toilet and probably a sink to wash up in after. Next, we have hunger. For hunger, we'll need a few things. We'll need a fridge for grabbing ingredients and storing food. We'll need a counter for prepping meals. We'll need a stove to cook on, and we need a sink to wash up in, as well as a bin to put trash in. Next, we have energy. I think it's pretty obvious. We just need a bed. Ever since bunk beds came into existence, building tiny homes has just gotten 1,000 times easier. I love them so much. Next, we have fun. For fun, you can get a variety of things, everything from a chessboard to a swing set. Since we're trying to save space though, we're gonna pick an option that takes up no tiles at all. Yes, the wall-mounted TV. And now we have social. No item can really help with this one. I mean, you could get a computer so that your sim can chat to someone online, but actually the best way for you to keep your social bar nice and green is by ambushing townies walking past your lot. And lastly, we have hygiene. With hygiene, you can get either a shower or a bath. But since we're trying to save some space, we'll go with the option that takes the least amount of tiles, the shower. So here we have, laid out in front of us, everything your sim needs for their needs. There must be a better way to say that. And now that we have everything that we need, let's just put it all in our house. You can put them wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. Just remember that your bathroom will need to be walled off. Maybe I'll put the kitchen behind. I want the sink to be facing a window. I think it'd be nice to wash up with a view. I also like to put the stove next to a window because I think it'd be awesome to cook with a view. I'm gonna put this here, but I'm gonna put a corner piece, I think. So Sims can still prep on corner counters. And for the bin, I might put it here. Now the final piece is the TV. This can be a bit tricky. I'll have to build a wall somewhere. Don't be afraid to use walls. So I'm gonna put it on this wall by the bed so that my sim can watch TV while he's in bed. Before we move on, do yourself a favor and like this video and subscribe to my channel to see more of my content. Now where were we? Now that we have everything that we need in our tiny home for our sim to survive, we can now move on to our wants. So these aren't things that you necessarily need for your sim to survive, but things you want your sim sim to have, like what you might want to consider is whether or not you want your sim to be able to plan their outfits in their home. So for that, they'll either need a dresser or a mirror. Now I do want that for my sim, so I'm gonna place a mirror in the lot right there in the bathroom. Other ones you might want to consider is whether you want your sim to have a sofa, have access to a computer, be able to read books, have a dining area, have a fireplace, anything really. When you decide what you want to go inside your sim's house, try and squeeze it in. But if it doesn't fit, just move on to your next one. So I want my sim to have access to a computer. So what I'm gonna do is grab a table and put that there. I like to use a dining table as a desk because you can use 2 chairs on it, so it's more multi-purpose. While a desk, you can only use 1 chair on it. So usually with a desk, your computer will sit here and you don't have the option to pick either side. But with the table option, now I have a place for my computer as well as a place to eat if I want now. I'm feeling this place is a little bit cramped, so I'm gonna move the bin maybe over here and maybe move this wall. I also want my sim to have a sofa, so I'm going to grab them a sofa and put that under the bed. I love bunk beds. I also want my sim to have access to some books and a stereo. So here I'm gonna stick a table and plonk a bunch of books on top as well as a stereo. I also want my sim to have a microwave. So what I'm gonna do is probably get rid of this big fridge and use a smaller one. And then I can put my microwave on top. And that's everything I want in my tiny home. So we've done our needs, we've done our wants. All that's left to do now is to decorate. Don't be afraid to use the BB Move Objects cheat here. Just make sure your sim has enough space to move around. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward all of this because I don't think it's that exciting watching me plonk decorations in a tiny lot. And guys, that's it. I have finally finished. So this is my tiny home. It has everything I need and some of the things I want and has been decorated extensively. Let me know how you guys went with this tutorial in the comments down below. Did you learn anything? Did you pick up any tips and tricks? If you enjoyed this tutorial, I also made another tutorial on how to build a simple and easy greenhouse. You can check it out here.